Me too. Okay, wow, we're live. Okay, so good afternoon, YWCA viewers. This is Series 1, Episode 11 of The Butterfly Effect, sponsored by Club 1888, a YWCA volunteer program. This is the empowerment series where volunteers host interview inspiring women in our community. And today we have Lindsay Brundge. Hello.
Hi,
Okay.
Brian.
Hi, thank you for being here. Lindsay Brundge is the Director of Business Development for a local certified women-owned telecommunications company. Period. She is an avid networker and finds her passion in DIRAD's technology by helping others and working with nonprofits. In her spare time, she enjoys time with her husband, daughters, and dogs. She recently also started a photography business, which stemmed from her passion within finding beauty in everyday life and capturing moments to last a lifetime. That's beautiful, Lindsay.
Thank you.
So why don't we start by you telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So I have been with DIRAD for almost 3 years. This April 16th will mark 3 wonderful years at DIRAD. And prior to this, I had no experience in the telecommunications industry. This company has allowed me to grow with them. I started out on a project for a state entity. And shortly into my career with DIRAD, I ended up finding myself interested in the sales, and throughout creating like processes and procedures, I was offered an opportunity to become the director of business development. So now I'm growing my team, working collaboratively with our marketing person, Jolene, who has been a great help. I can't thank her enough for the work that she does. And then from there, I'm working with public sector and private sector alike. So that's a little bit about me from a business standpoint. I have 2 daughters who I love very much. I have 2 dogs that Cash and June. We are Johnny Cash and June Carter runs around here.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll probably see them running through here at some point. And then my husband, he's wonderful. He's been really supportive. I recently brought on a passion project, if you will. I got my DBA and started a photography business called She Looks Like Art.
Wow.
And I'm really excited to kind of see where that adventure takes me. So that's a little bit about myself.
Wow. So I understand DIRAD, you have something special going on with DIRAD with the YWCA. Do you want to elaborate more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was never a really techie person for the longest time. I wasn't big on social media until I started my business, and yet had to create, a networking, a network of people for my position within business development. And, it just kind of grew from there. And I didn't fully understand the scope of what difference that our solutions could make at DIRAD. And it was like an instant connection with Kendra when I met her, and I was talking to her about what their configuration looks like. And, these women or, children involved in these really horrific type of traumatic events. And we started discussing what that hotline looked like. And I started thinking about what we do here at DIRAD and how that could almost be a movement to help really assist in getting the help that these people need when they need it. Or if they don't have the ability to call, there's different ways that they can reach out in the event they need help and they don't want to antagonize the situation. So through that project, it really opened my eyes to my passion within DIRAD. And what excites me the most is the difference that I can make through our technologies to help others.
That's beautiful. I think that's the amazing thing that you and that company is doing all together. I know it's probably helping a lot in a lot of beneficial situations at the YWCA. So for that, on behalf of the YWCA, I would say we thank you for that. So I would like to dig in more about what kind of brought you here into this position in life. It seems like you're doing a lot and a lot of great things for yourself. So who inspired you when you were younger?
Well, I like to think that I was surrounded by a lot of very inspirational people. My one grandmother was a 2-time cancer survivor. My other grandmother taught me at a very young age the value of a budget, which came into play when I became a mother at 18. I actually graduated high school 7 months pregnant.
Wow.
So a lot of my inspiration also came from my daughter, both of my daughters, but at that time she motivated me to continue, growing my career and being able to provide as, a single mother at that age. And my mom too. My mom has always been my biggest supporter. When I was younger, we didn't always get along. I think that's natural within.
Yeah, totally natural.
Yeah, but in this day and age, like my mom is my rock and my best friend. So it was always like this matriarchal figure that always inspired me, and I'm just hoping I can pass that on to, my children and set a good example for them through the difference that I'm trying to make.
That's beautiful. Who would you say is your mentor?
Well, from a business professional standpoint, there are a lot of people at DIRAD that I think have been really great. Kathy Cregan has always been a big cheerleader for me. Maria Massa, who's majority share owner, the reason we are a certified women-owned entity, she's always been great to look up to and ask questions. And John McNee and Rami Hashem, they're also the owners. So they've shown me the ways of finding the resources that I need to learn these technologies. So in a professional standpoint, those would probably be the people that come to mind. Also, Christine Smith, she taught me a lot about networking, because that was a new facet.
Oh, yeah, that's really important, networking.
Yeah. So that was really great. But the mentors in my life outside of business would again be, both of my grandmothers and my mother.
That's beautiful. So I see like a lot of figures in your life who really helped navigate you to where you are today, and that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
I know we kind of already talked about your job, but like what made you decide to stay with DIRAD, or what encouraged you, or what brought you to that point to be part of the company?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting what happened. Previously, my background was in the automotive industry. I was always really interested in cars. And then in line with that, I had my insurance license. And, as a young mom, I worked a lot, but it was able to support my family by myself. So that was really key to my success and growth with my children. And then once I got to a point where I knew I was able to make a leap so I could spend that very important time with my family and my children, I started focusing in the healthcare industry, and I had thought maybe it might make sense to get into looking into classes to become an RN. So I had worked for a private practice, doctor's office, as well as a hospital.
Right.
And I found very quickly that it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. It was gratifying to help. It was very interesting to me. My favorite thing was like the phlebotomy aspect. But the atmosphere wasn't a jive for like what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I just was looking one day. I saw an opportunity at DIRAD, and when I met with the team, I knew that I had found my home. They were very easy to talk to. They don't look at their staff as if they're not equals. They listen to what you have to bring to the table. They're open to a fresh approach, and throughout just creating those relationships at DIRAD and then learning these technologies and then finding my passion in the technologies, like I mentioned with, the nonprofits and domestic violence space, to me, there's nothing more gratifying than that. Right. So that's kind of what made me realize, it was my aha moment that, okay, I really do have a career here and I'm valued. So
yeah, that's beautiful. And I understand, like, since you are more of like, you like the creative atmosphere and like applying things, and you like to keep things at heart with what you do in your profession, and I admire that. I understand you also do a little bit of photography, so would you like to dwell on that? It's really
So the house that I'm living in was actually my grandparents, and they had purchased it when I was barely 2 years old. Right. And I shortly fell into like this comfort zone here. I have many memories here. My children had many memories here, and my grandmother put the house on the market, and I just couldn't let go of that. So a big part of my love for photography stemmed from my grandfather, my pop. So I have probably no exaggeration, 150, 200 photo albums, like the big old school photo albums
Wow.
of pictures. He would capture everything. I have like my whole childhood is literally in these albums, or
Wow.
nature or frozen creeks, and just pictures in the backyard. And he always had his camera. In the other room, I have a camera collection from his old cameras, and I was just always surrounded by his passion for it, and he taught me to take a step back and kind of like see and realize the beauty in everything. So it's almost like a really emotional but like connective thing. He did pass when I was 19. So to me, I feel like he had taught me this art, and to, life's crazy. Like COVID's crazy, and I feel like people get so caught up in the day to day that they don't focus on what's important. Um,
Yeah.
and my goal is to eventually create like a safe haven for people like of the LGBTQ communities, and different involvements within the community, to capture the beauty, but also make people feel beautiful and empowered through the photography that I'm taking. So that's my overall goal, because I think if there's one thing we all need and probably realize during this past year of a pandemic, is that we need to reground ourselves and recenter and find what's important to us, and enjoy what's going on today, because you never really know what tomorrow might bring. So
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of putting it. But photographs really do capture the moment. They really do have a story behind everything. So I'm glad that you're in that profession. I know a lot of people underestimate photography, but I believe photography is a really beautiful field that to get into. So I'm really glad that you have some type of angle that you want to use that with.
thank you.
Um, so how does your identity as a woman play a role in your industry?
So for me, this is a really exciting question. I think, as time goes on, it's not as much of a male dominated industry.
Great.
But, if you look back, history shows that technology is more of a male dominated industry. So
Yeah.
I have two daughters, and I'm always trying to set the best example for them. And the fact that I'm working for a technology company that is women owned, that is so involved with the government in these large projects, I feel that like it's just setting precedent for them to realize you can break through that glass ceiling and there is no stopping you. Like, so to me, that's just, it's really cool to be in this industry. But I think it also takes a lot of grit, because in some of these conversations you're having high level conversations, and me, I came from no background in any of this, so it's self-taught and training through DIRAD and my mentors.
Wow.
It's hard. You kind of walk into this ring, and there's CTOs and CIOs, and they have crazy degrees and experience, and they kind of look at you like, not only are you younger, but you're a woman in this industry, and what do you have to bring to the table that we all don't already know? So there's something really exciting about that to me, and I love a challenge. So being involved in a tech space that is still mainly dominant for males is just very intriguing, exciting for me, and it's really cool to be a part of.
That's beautiful. And I understand you said you went to this head on without any experience. So you
Yeah.
just kind of went for it. I
Yes.
think that's a really good example to set for your daughters. Just go for things and like achieving, because you're in the position that you're in now. If you doubted yourself, you wouldn't be in that position. So given that, like, what advice would you give yourself when you were younger, or when you were 21? I'm not sure how old you are, but like whenever you started the industry.
Of course. So at 21, it was still just me and my oldest daughter at that time. My second daughter didn't come for another 2 years. I probably would tell myself that all of the hard work and the grunt work and the time that I was committing to my career to be the best mom that I could be and support my daughter in the best way that I could at that point in time, and the time that I was missing with her wasn't as negative as I thought it was in that moment, because it has helped me grow my career and really push me to my limits and keep surprising myself with what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
So that lost time, as hard as that was for me with all the crazy hours that I was working, I think that I would let myself know that it pays off. That hard work pays off. And I'm just setting a good precedent and example for, both of my daughters at this point. That hard work and dedication can really, give you uncapped potential, and that you're really capable of doing anything. Just don't set self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
all of that work was worth it, is what I would probably tell myself.
That's amazing. And what would you want other women to know? Or like, what advice would you give to other women who are, kind of stuck in this position where they're like, I don't know if I should go for it?
Stop being scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of like any of it. Like, it is scary. I'm not telling you to never be scared, but I'm saying don't be scared to allow it to hold you back. Because if I told you, Lilian, that I am not scared when I have these meetings with these large clients or these people that I've had years and decades of experience, that would be a lie. I'm scared. I'm scared every day, but I know that I am providing a solution that is going to make a difference. And I know at the end of the day, I can only be the best version of myself. And if I give it my 110, I'm okay with a loss if I walk away knowing that I gave everything my all. So don't set that self limitation. Don't let your negative thoughts impact the decisions that you're going to make, because I would rather live with a loss than living in regret of the what if.
That's a really good way of putting it. It's a really good way of putting it. So, so what is unique to you? Like, what kind of special talent or what excites you for your everyday life, or what keeps you motivated?
Okay. So there's multiple parts. My family keeps me motivated. Um, Learning that I can try to make a difference in someone's life is very motivating to me.
Yeah.
Whether it be through technologies, art, photography, my parenting style, being a good wife, a good daughter. Those are the things that really motivate me in the morning, or every day for that matter. And something unique, I guess I would say, is through this whole COVID experience, I wanted to really get in touch with like my inner self. So I recently took up a yoga class, and I think that is very important, just to at least, even if it's not yoga, to have something that you allow yourself to be selfish about. So I don't have a lot of free time, as you can imagine. So one night a week for about an hour to an hour and a half, I have made a promise to myself to put myself first and go to this class, and it has given me so much clarity. And it might look different for everybody else, because it might be, a walk in the park or in the woods, or, a car drive with music. But like, find that thing that makes you happy and like kind of gives you that natural glow, because it's going to help you kind of sort out whatever uncertainties that you have. And that helps kind of like bring you back to, what you should be focusing on. So that's the kind of like unique thing that I'm doing right now. I'm sure yoga isn't unique altogether, but for me, it's something new, and just getting outside of my comfort zone, like starting my own business.
Wow, that's amazing. I personally meditate, and it's amazing. I feel like just people do need that kind of atmosphere where they just set themselves aside from like their daily lives to actually recollect themselves through something that they actually enjoy. So
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So what would be like one of the best advice that you were ever given and that you still hold on to till this day?
It would probably be, it's not so much advice, but my grandmother taught me how to budget when I was very young. And that helped me through so many hard times, especially as a single mom. And I think that if your finances are kind of figured out, what that'll allow you to feel is a sense of freedom and relief. And if that's in place, everything else will kind of fall in line around it, because your livelihood is essentially your financial situation. So if you know you're eating, if you know you're warm, you can really focus on the other things that should be important to you. So that's probably the best gift that I had ever received, from my grandmother.
That's beautiful. And first of all, I wish my grandmother taught me budgeting. I'm over here just going head on with it. But again, I guess mistakes and going for it is just a good thing, as you taught me today. So I think I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So to kind of get off track a little bit, so what is like an interview question that you've never been asked before, but what would your response be to that question?
So I asked this to people that I've interviewed, and my boss isn't really a fan of this question.
Okay.
I enjoy this question. So my favorite question that I ask is, if you could be any animal, what would it be and why? Ooh. And typically I'm not looking for the average, a cat or a dog, answer, because I feel that doesn't tell me much about you. Like, yes, you're loyal, or yes, you're cuddly or whatever. But if the tables were reversed and someone asked me that question, I'd probably say a wolf.
Ooh, why?
And the reason being is because wolves travel in packs, and they have the pack set up based upon the health of the wolf, and they're always protecting. So they have the elders in front of them so they can keep an eye on what's going on. And in the event something needed to be protected, they can see, from all angles. And then they're taking care of their elders, essentially, is the short way of saying it. Right. So they're very close knit. They're always looking to protect those around them. They're very smart. They're very swift, and they're very resourceful. And to me, what best describes my personality is wanting to help make an impact and protect, all of those around me.
Wow, that's a really beautiful way of putting it. I really like that type of response. That was really interesting the way you put that. I never really noticed that about whoops. Like, I would have never personally understood that. Usually I'm one of those people that are like, oh, I'm a cat. But now I'm going to be more intuitive with my response, and actually, yes, you just encouraged me to do that. All right. Well, actually, I kind of want to dig into more about your photography real quick. Do you have any types of projects out going on right now?
Yes. So last week I had done a shoot at a studio in Saratoga for a yogi who actually teaches me, and she's phenomenal. Her name's Hillary. And I am so excited because I'm going to pick up prints later today, and I release those on, I only have a Facebook and the Instagram right now. My website's still being built. I went with WordPress, and it's a lot. But, that's probably one of my favorite projects that I've done thus far, and I'm still building my portfolio. So I have a shoot upcoming. I'm doing like a boudoir for someone that I'm very close with, and then I have some outdoor shoots coming up too. I did some headshots for Christine Smith, who is the owner of Ripple Effects, which is a local group as well. And then there's a veteran bike run, essentially, for a business, and the name's escaping me right now, and I really wish it wasn't. I think it's Semper IBI, which is a nonprofit that helps veterans train their service dogs that are struggling with PTSD. Wow. Instead of them training it for the veteran, so it can strengthen that bond. Right. And then if the veteran doesn't have access to the funds for the adoption process, they will actually put that up for the veteran. So I plan on being in attendance in August for that bike run, and also capturing some of our nation's heroes. So
that's amazing. That's really nice. So I believe that would be it for right now. But Lindsay, do you have any last minute words? Anything you would like to say to the audience?
I just would like to say, if you are seeing this, the YWCA is a phenomenal entity. Keep an eye out for ways that you can support the YWCA and other local nonprofits. And Lilian, it was fantastic to meet with you today. I appreciate you taking time out of your day for this interview. And I look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Oh, anytime. I would like to thank you as well for being here and allowing me to interview you. You have an amazing lifestyle, and I really respect everything that you do with your profession.
Thank you.
Both photography and Dyrad. I think they're both amazing. places to be at right now for you. So I hope the best and wish the best for you with that. And also thanking the audience, whoever is watching, for being here and actually watching us. Check out for next week's episode. This whole butterfly project is an amazing project that the YWCA is hosting. So keep a lookout for next episodes. And yeah, have a good day, everyone. And I hope everybody has an amazing time, amazing rest of the week. All right. Bye.
Thank you so much.